This is CBC Here and Now.
These things need to be addressed and need to be addressed now. We can't be a one-trick pony and looking after COVID-19 alone.
Tonight, calls to reopen the economy faster before it's too late to save local businesses.
We think that this is important to make public with context.
How much are doctors in this province billing the government? Medical billings are now public after 4 years of doctors trying to keep them secret. Good evening, I'm Carolyn Stokes. Nearly a week of Alert Level 3 is over, but there are calls tonight to skip ahead to Alert Level 1. More than 50 prominent business leaders have written Premier Dwight Ball demanding a reopening of the economy. They say the long-term impacts will be irreversible if no action is taken soon. Here now's Heather Gillis is live in our newsroom with the details. So Heather, who signed this letter?
Well, Carolyn, the 3-page letter has been signed by 56 business leaders in the province, people like Zita Cobb, Frank Coleman, Mark Dobbin, and Rob Crosby. They're asking for an end to the public health state of emergency, returning governance to elected officials, for an economic recovery plan, and to skip Alert Level 2, going straight to Level 1. They accuse the province of only focusing on public health rather than taking a broader approach and focusing on the economy and other issues. They say the province is on the brink of an irreversible economic disaster if no immediate action is taken. They're also concerned the province is pursuing a policy of zero new COVID cases, which they call costly. Andrew Bell signed the letter. He says the province is using too much caution and the economic impact will be huge.
I think the unfortunate thing and the troubling thing is we just don't know the magnitude of it yet. And that's what we're going to have to wait and see. Every day this changes. When you look at the people that are here, tourism, and travel agencies and licensee business, restaurants, hotels, all of those people, it's been catastrophic. I mean, losing 2 or 3, 4 months worth of business, hotels at 6%, 2% occupancy. Those financial models don't work. Now is the time, I think, especially if we're going to talk about Atlantic Canada bubble, that they need to give it serious consideration.
Meanwhile, Premier Dwight Ball says elected officials are still in charge. Health Minister John Haggie says the public health state of emergency isn't going anywhere yet, as it allows them to implement public health orders like the 14-day isolation plan.
And I think even at this stage, and particularly in relation to inter-provincial travel, that would expose this province to what I have been informed could potentially be an unacceptable level of risk. So it stays for the moment until Dr. Fitzgerald and the epidemiologists provide me with advice to the contrary.
The everyday Newfoundlander and Labrador, the over 500,000 people that live and enjoy our province, they must safely be able to be the customers of some of those businesses that we're talking about here today. So it's a balanced approach, and we can't ignore the fact that what a surge would have, or having to deal with and close up the businesses again within our province, and therefore put pressure on our healthcare system again.
Well, Ball says he's not picking a public health crisis over an economic crisis. He says it's about doing it all safely, and he says his plan is working. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Heather Gillis.
It's a story that's taken Here and Now more than 4 years to get, but tonight we can shed some light on how much this province pays our doctors. This is the first time we've been able to see where the $360 million that's paid to doctors actually goes. Here and Now's Peter Cowan has been on that story for all these years. So Peter, before we get to the exclusive details, give us some background. Why did this take so long?
Carolyn, I filed an access to information request 4 years ago asking for this breakdown. The province already reveals what it pays salaried physicians, but not fee-for-service doctors. Initially, the government tried to block it. Then doctors went to court to try and stop it. But after a ruling from this province's Information and Privacy Commissioner and court rulings elsewhere, the doctors have dropped their court battle, and this information is now no longer secret.
We think that this is important to make public with context.
The association representing doctors spent 4 years arguing that billing information was private and confidential. But now that it's going to be released, it wants people to know that billings aren't the same as income.
Almost like how much money comes in a cash register in a store. That's not exactly how much is the take-home pay for those physicians.
So how much are doctors billing? The data shows there are 19 doctors who billed more than $1 million in 2018-2019. Of the top 10, 5 of those are ophthalmologists. 2 of those are family docs. A radiologist, a dermatologist, and an internist round out the list. The top biller is Christopher Jackman. He billed the province $2.8 million. He's an ophthalmologist and says more than half of his billings go to cover overhead costs. He has expenses to pay for and staff, as well as a second ophthalmologist who work for him. He wouldn't do an interview, but in a statement his office said Dr. Jackman has chosen to invest in his province with a state-of-the-art facility that's able to provide care to patients in Newfoundland and Labrador that is comparable to the best clinics anywhere in the country. He's able to efficiently increase the number of patients he's able to see, thus reducing wait times for people who need ophthalmology care. The $2.8 million doesn't include his income from services patients pay for directly and aren't covered by the province. Most of the top billers are specialists, but 2 family doctors made the list. Dr. Anas Abdulkhalik works at this walk-in clinic in St. John's. He says his $1.5 million in billings is because he runs a large number of patients through his clinics, and he has a methadone clinic that he runs as well, so he's paying overhead for 2 offices. Another doctor who treats opioid patients also made the list. Todd Young insists more money goes to overhead than himself. He's a family doctor focusing on opioid addiction treatment. He was paid $1.2 million last year for his services, but he insists his expenses were high. He has 8 offices and 12 staff to pay for. His expenses, he says, totaled $990,000, which would leave him with just over $200,000 left. Young made headlines when his license was suspended for an inappropriate relationship with a patient. He had to fight Central Health to get his hospital credentials back. It's not just these doctors. The NLMA says all doctors have tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in costs.
And then after that, they need to pay their secretary, they need to put the lights on, they need to pay their rent, they need to take care of their office equipment. In this day and age, they need to buy and procure personal protective equipment. All of those costs come out before they have a take-home.
We are going to have more stories about this data in the coming days, and Carolyn, because people have already been asking, we are going to make the full database available online for people who want to see the billings, not just for those highest paid doctors, but for everyone. So look for that in the coming days.
Thanks so much, Peter. That's Here and Now's Peter Cowan reporting live. Well, now to some national news. New video is shedding light on the arrest of an Alberta First Nations chief. It's fueling discussions about racism, discrimination, and police violence in this country. We have the RCMP dashcam video showing the arrest of the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nations chief. Alan Adam has publicly accused RCMP officers of assault, releasing this photo of the injuries he sustained. Now we're getting a new look at how the situation unfolded. The dash cam footage, which has been filed in court, shows the moments leading up to Adam's arrest. The Prime Minister calls the video alarming and the situation disturbing.
I think everyone who's seen this video has serious questions about what exactly happened, about how it happened this way, and about that use of force that we saw. That's why we're calling for an independent, transparent investigation that will get the answers that so many questions people are asking right now.
Well, a news report from an online Norwegian publication is stoking some optimism about the oil and gas industry in this province. The Upstream news site is reporting that Equinor has made a potentially commercial discovery not far from the Flemish Pass that could resurrect the Bay du Nord project. Equinor is cautioning against any premature celebrations, but insiders believe a new discovery could improve the business case for Bay du Nord, which was deferred in March. And Equinor has yet to drill another nearby well, which sources say is an even bigger prospect.
I'm very hopeful that Equinor has made that discovery and that there is either a tieback or, potential of another discovery, standalone discovery. So I'm hopeful, but I don't have anything to verify. There's no validation of that at this point.
Land Resources Minister Jerry Byrne announced close to $10 million for jobs in the forestry sector today at a building supply store in Corner Brook. Over half the money goes to forest industry projects, while $3.5 million will establish forestry biomass market opportunities like heating some buildings. Byrne says the funding is partly to develop 100 seasonal and permanent jobs during the COVID pandemic.
We have a responsibility to provide relief during COVID-19. The forestry sector has been hurting. This will supply direct jobs next week in our province, and especially in rural areas. But in addition to that, this is part of our economic recovery plan coming out of COVID-19. This is where the jobs of the future will be.
Well, there are some real moments of joy happening for many families in this province. With restrictions loosened at long-term care facilities, people are reuniting with elderly parents and loved ones. It's a moment they've been waiting for every day of this pandemic. Now, it's finally here. Our cameras captured some of those reunions at Alderwood Estates in Witless Bay.
I am coming to see my mom, Betty King.
Your hands are frozen.
I haven't seen my mom since, here we go. Oh my gosh, last time I saw my mom was probably a week or two just before the COVID started.
After the first couple of days, there was never any worries. Like, I always knew she was okay. The hardest part for me was just not being able to see her, and anyone who knows me knows I'm a hugger. And I always look forward to my hugs every night. So when I come up, I get a cuddle from Mom, and I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to just get that hug. Can you see me? Hold on. I haven't had a hug in so long. Oh, lovely hug.
Every day there was no cases. We knew that this day was coming closer and closer, and you could hear, do you think it's today? Do you think it's today? Amongst themselves. Like, do you think it'll be today? And I'd be like, Minister Haggie hasn't called me yet, but we'll know, hopefully, soon. So they're so excited, and they're to see their kids and to be touched. People, like, it's not natural not to be touched, right? Like, humans need to be touched, and this, they need their family to be wrapped around them. They really do.
Oh, when I saw her, it just feels right up. And I'm not like that. But 3 months, I guess, built up. Very exciting. Oh, you're really here. I couldn't be here.
Here, Missy.
Well, it isn't easy to break out of prison, but for the second year in a row, a mother duck has managed to hatch her ducklings inside the yard at Her Majesty's Penitentiary and escape with the whole brood in tow. Correctional officers Janet O'Neill and Valerie Galloway recorded video evidence of the getaway.
So we had a duck here last year who had laid eggs and had babies, and we escorted them down through the prison out to the lake. And then this year we noticed that another duck, not that we could tell them apart, but seemed to come back to the same nest and laid eggs again. And sure enough, we named her Daisy and followed her on her journey that we put on social media. There are inmates out around on the premises, and they would constantly ask, how's Daisy doing? And we'd give them an update, or she got 11 eggs, or she's doing good, or she never ate this morning, she wasn't hungry, or the male ducks are around. So everybody was kind of involved in making sure that she was safe and she was fed. So I was keeping track of her every day, and I knew that she was going to lay her eggs, according to Google, on a certain day. And I had gotten information that morning that she had, the ducks had actually cracked open and were alive, and she had ducklings. So we were all on guard and waiting for her to leave the nest, because we knew once she left, she wouldn't be able to get back up. And we kind of just, some of us worked through our lunches, kind of donated our lunch so we could follow her out through the prison and make sure that she had a safe journey, because it is quite a bit of a walk for a little tiny duckling, little tiny legs.
Last year, she went through the doorway, but this year she decided she was going to go under the fence. So it was a pretty tight squeeze for her, not so much for the little ones. In the video, you see there's one little weakling, we kind of called him, and he struggled the whole while and had to take some break.
He's like, wait for me, Mom. I'm coming.
And even fell down between the big boulders that go around Kitty Bitty a couple of times, so we had to scoop him out and until they made their way to the water.
It's a great journey we all went on.
It was really nice, I gotta say, but we'll probably be able to talk again in about, what, 28 days?
28 days. Who we assume is Daisy is back with the two males, and they're hanging out in the yard again. We haven't seen any ducklings, so we're not really sure what happened to them, but that's nature.
We're anticipating that there's going to be more really soon.
Yeah, we've been watching them, and we figure there's something else coming along in our future.
Weather update is brought to you by the sold-out HCF Home Lottery. Thank you, Newfoundland and Labrador. Your support has been overwhelming. Prize winners will be announced on June 25th at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, I'm back down at Cuckold's Cove tonight. However, very different scene. You can see the fog further off the coast, but it is chilly in those onshore winds further as you head inshore. Certainly for St. John's, an absolutely gorgeous day today. Temperatures reaching 22 degrees as our daytime high in St. John's. The winter, though, the hot spot was up through Labrador at 25 degrees this afternoon. We have temperatures in the 20s pretty much all through central, 20 degrees in Corner Brook, and 14 was the afternoon high in St. John's, or rather Labrador City today. And you can see temperatures in the 20-degree range along the coast as well. So we've got an area of low pressure to the north and an area of high pressure to the south. That's what's keeping this cloud cover at bay. But again, we are seeing that area of fog. It's moving further and further north, certainly along the south coast. And we've got those showers as well for the west coast. That will generally continue as we head through the night tonight, with some areas along the south coast seeing some drizzle, and even the potential to see some drizzle for the Avalon as well as here in the metro area. Then showers, pretty much the story across the Big Land. The winds will eventually ease in the east, but then stay quite breezy for western and central areas of the island, looking at anywhere from 50 to 70 km/h gusts. Through the day tomorrow, though, looking like it's going to be rainy again for the west. Most areas in the east should actually see the sun peek out at times through the day, keeping that potential for some drizzle, though, and areas of fog along the south coast, just in that onshore flow again. But you can see more than likely going to see some sunshine towards Gander and Bonavista North, otherwise staying generally unsettled up through the Big Land, with that potential for some showers moving through. Certainly into the evening and overnight hours. And then the next round of showers will move in for Sunday morning. So here's where we're sitting temperature-wise. Another beautiful day, anywhere from 20 to as much as 25 degrees in Gander. Again, those winds will stay breezy, 40 to 50 km/h gusts, generally out of the southwest. And then cooler for Labrador, much cooler for Cartwright, down to 8 degrees today, or tomorrow rather, with the potential for some showers, and 11 degrees for Lab City. As we head into Sunday, though, things start to cool down for the east. We're looking at temperatures in the teens, and then a ridge of high pressure dominates the Big Land and then making its way towards the west coast as well. So you're looking at pretty much sunshine through the day, with temperatures recovering quite nicely. Around 20 degrees will be the afternoon high in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. Once we get through these showers, though, through Monday and Tuesday, middle of the week towards the end of the week is looking up. Temperatures into the 20 to mid-20s for parts of western and central Labrador. Could reach 27 degrees by the time Wednesday rolls around, which is a good welcome sign for sure. And then we've got similar temperatures expected for Lab West as well as eastern Labrador, but a little bit more unsettled for you. So just wanted to share this great shot from Chris Tuck, flat calm on Gander Lake, which doesn't happen very often. Thank you so much for sending that in. If you have any weather photos for us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
During this COVID-19 pandemic, life is different for you, for me, and for all of us at Here and Now. We're working apart and working from home like so many of you to maintain a distance and keep each other safe. Starting on Monday, June 15th, Here and Now will return to a 60-minute newscast, a full hour of your stories and the essential information you need the most. Time to find out who's celebrating. Happy 94th birthday to Gladys Hallwell Miles in Corner Brook. Happy 66th anniversary to Desmond and Marion Mallows from Gander. Also celebrating 66 years are Charlie and Alvina Easton of Clarenville. Congratulations. Jean Snow of Grand Falls, Windsor is turning 97. Happy birthday. Congratulations to John and Ruby Butt, who are celebrating their 65th anniversary. Happy 52nd anniversary to John and Nell Marr. Joe and Roberta Coombs of St. John's are also celebrating their 52nd anniversary. Birthday greetings going out to Mildred Kennedy, who turns 94 today. Happy 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow to Curtis and Greta Hutchings of Cowhead. Happy 95th birthday to Ruby Matthews in Gander. Nellie Snow of Topsail turns 92 tomorrow. That's her at age 12 on the left. And that's the picture of her today. Happy 50th anniversary to Cecil and Doris LeGros. Happy 90th birthday to Lillian Tucker of Gander. Happy 50th anniversary to Lindsay and Gladys Bungay from Grand Bank. Birthday wishes going out to Elizabeth Wiseman of Clarenville, who's turning 91. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Bill and Jean Emberley of Buckins. Happy 50th wedding anniversary also to Sterling and Beverly Keene. Happy 95th birthday to Rowena Mercer of Grand Falls, Windsor. Wishing Frank Keats of Buckins Junction a very happy 91st birthday. David and Hazel Legg from Cavendish, Trinity Bay are celebrating their 59th anniversary. Happy 69th anniversary to Len and Bernice Parsons of Gander. Wishing a happy 50th anniversary to Frank and Janet Kelly. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Edward and Dorothy Hodder of St. Bernard's. Alice Critch will celebrate her 95th birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday and happy 50th wedding anniversary to George and Liz Sweeney of Carbonear, now living in Mount Pearl. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. And before we leave you, just one more reminder, because we are very excited about this, that starting on Monday, Here and Now is expanding to 60 minutes, back to the way we were before the pandemic started. That's a full hour of local news, weather, and your stories at 6 o'clock Newfoundland time, 5:30 in most of Labrador. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful, sunny Friday evening. It's about 21 degrees in St. John's right now, so I hope you get a chance to get out and enjoy it. Another nice day coming tomorrow for most of the province. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Good night.